I spent over £100,000 digging that lake in my back garden. And that's because things like simply filling it up with water cost £15,000. I tried my best when we were building the lake to do as much research and planning as possible. I hired a local reputable ground worker, the best machinery that I could, and got involved as much as my brain could manage. And I finally ended up with something that looked like a lake. However, after trying as hard as possible to make sure that the lake was totally bulletproof, we discovered it was leaking. So my new landscaper, fellow angler and water specialist Kevin came in to lend a hand. We discovered the cause of the problem were land drains, a series of old clay pipes that I thought had been removed by a previous builder. But we discovered that they hadn't been, and it was making the lake lose thousands of litres of water, going down by around an inch every single day. After finding those leaks, I was absolutely heartbroken, but at least we knew what the cause of the problem was. However, I couldn't just wait for my lake, pond, whatever you want to call it, to lose all of its water and the fish all go belly up. I had to find a way of fixing the issue. In the last video, we managed to find all the land drains, but now we need to stop them from leaking. And for that, we are using concrete to block up the exit of each land drain. But for concrete to set properly, it needs to be in a dry space. And despite bunging up one of the land drains with clay as much as possible, it simply wouldn't hold back the water rushing into the hole. Clearly the pipe was totally exposed in the lake, meaning the water pressure was huge, and for that, someone needed to get in and find it. Basically, I need to get in the lake to try and find the land drain that's in the lake that it's flowing out of. We've just realised, using this stick, that the bit I need to get in is going to be over the top of my waders. So that's not going to work. So the only option, as I see it, as undignified as it's going to look, is for me to go and put some swimming trunks on. So I'll see you in a minute.
Ready to get wet.
It's not even that warm today. Right, so we're putting in some more blue dye so that we can see where it comes out in the lake in this land drain. So we need to be able to block up this land drain, which we just cannot block with clay, before putting the cement in to get rid of it. So we put that dye in. Any minute now there should be a stream of blue dye coming in the lake, which indicates where I'm going, and Kevin. After a few moments, we started to see the blue dye coming through, showing us exactly where the land drain was.
There it is. Come on, put it around there.
Oh my God!
How big is it? Same as this is?
Yeah.
It's just open.
It's just open. So that would have drained to that height. That's when the pond would have stopped.
Oh my God, I can see the pressure it's coming out at.
So we need to, now we know where that is, turn the pump off. We need to put the pump back in there, so we're creating a vacuum coming back in, then we block this as it's coming back in.
Oh,
Kind of lost it, it's right in front of you.
there it is. And I've lost my clay. Hang on, I've got my clay back now. Go on! Oh, I'm pushing as much as I possibly can.
A little fish behind you. Oh, he got you there, didn't I?
Feel the pipe remotely at all now.
Yeah,
Gone.
yeah, I'm pushing down into it. The opening's still there.
You might want to let Kev push on it because he's a real man.
I hope it don't rain in a minute, I'm going to get wet. The reality of being a fishery owner. Suddenly I feel colder as well. Once I'd bunged up the pipe with clay, the boys pumped the hole dry and we could finally fill it with concrete. But since I was already wet, I then couldn't help but having a little wade around the rest of the lake to see if there was anything else that I could find and get a feel for what the new depths were with the water level down. And actually, I managed to make a surprising discovery. Well, it turns out that blanket weed comes off reeds and then grows across the bottom of the lake with loads of naturals in. And I discovered this huge string of blanket weed that goes out from that root there into the... Look at that! Kev! Weed! It's got loads of leeches in it! That's insane! It was finally time for me to get out and attempt getting up the very slippery bank, which went well. But at least we could crack on. Over the next few days, I went off to complete some very important automotive work on my friend Matt Armstrong's channel, which also went well.
I'm going to have to do sympathy subscribes to Ben's Fowler Fishery.
But while coming home from what was a cracking day, I had a call from Kevin that made me sick through to my stomach. Just had a call from Kevin while the guys are in the shop getting a suction mount to say that he has found out the lake is leaking through the topsoil layer. He's filled up one of the holes that he's dug, and as it's got to the top, the water started pouring out of like a surface layer of clay at the top of the lake, and it's running back into the lake. So obviously if it can run into the lake, it means that it can also run out of the lake through that layer. It's literally one thing after another at the minute. See, as the owner of various different businesses across different sectors, problem solving is just something that you get used to. In fact, pressure from work is actually something that I've come to enjoy. I tend to thrive under it, and there's not usually many problems that I can't end up solving, but genuinely I have to admit, this lake, it's just one problem after another, and it really has started to push me to my limit. Upon discovering this, Kevin got on the phone to some specialists to ask their opinions on how we could fix the issue.
If I was you, I'd drain the lake and start again.
Great.
But obviously their answer isn't an option. I have no stock pond, I don't want to drain the lake and spend all that money on water over again. There had to be another option, and I think Kevin had found the answer. So this is what? This is clay bentonite matting?
Correct.
And we're using this because that layer of topsoil there, you discovered, was seeping. So what we're doing is you're putting the matting down in this trench that we've created. These are the concrete pieces where the land drains were, to make sure they don't leak. But basically the water will then leak through this layer, but it won't be able to pass this.
Correct.
So that's made from what, like fibre with clay powder in?
Yeah, it's 2 layers of membrane which is sort of stitched together. It's got this very fine or granulated clay.
It looks like granules, doesn't it?
Yeah, and as soon as that granules get, or those granules get wet, then it expands and self-seals.
So every part of the lake, which is the bank behind where Steve's filming, where we are now, and half that bank over there that was actually risen up, we've got to do this too. But we think the sides of the lake, which is like the natural height of the field, because the clay's a lot higher, we think that will be fine.
Yeah.
So you might be wondering how we're actually putting together all of this bentonite matting. Well, you need a 300mm overlap on each sheet as it gets to the next one, and then we use a pin at the top and bottom to secure it. As soon as the water gets through here and it kind of swells up, that is what will bind each one of these sheets together. Whilst waiting for the matting, we also decided to solve another issue. Water. Why not try and get more water into the lake using the rest of the field? So we came up with an idea. A ditch was created along the back fence, and then several pipes was put in down to the lake. These also connected to some old land drains that were running across the field, and collectively now every time it rains a massive amount of water gets into the lake. This means we can save money on a really costly borehole and get water free of charge. My lake was also starting to suffer from erosion. Now this occurs when the prevailing wind pushes the water into the banks, which it laps again. This slowly causes a piece to be carved out, and over time can go back meters into the field. Another thing that I wanted to solve on my lake was the banks. See, ever since it was built, I wasn't happy with how the banks looked. But what I wanted was for the lake to be more like this, where the grass banks come down right to the edge of the waterline with no horrible grey clay mark. Look at the state of this, like, it's just grey clay, like nothing is going to grow in that. The water level has got to come back, but like, how can grass make it to the edge? It literally can't. So we came up with a solution, and this is it. This special matting allows for grass from the topsoil underneath to grow through. What we've also done is, using the digger, we've re-sculptured the banks to have a slightly different angle. Where before the banks were like this, we've now managed to get them a little bit more like this, meaning as the water starts coming up the bank over the top of this matting, it will meet with the grass as it grows through. We've also managed to keep the reeds in the same position down below without harming them too much. We've now got to go around the whole lake doing this process, tidying up the banks and getting this matting in. Well, Kevin has at least. What did you do while we were away? What did you have to do to this to keep it okay?
Water it.
So you had to water it with the hose, did you?
We used the pump and a hose on the pump back down there.
Oh right, so you pumped the water out the lake and then shot it over the top. Because do you have to keep this watered every day?
Yes, I did, yeah.
So it was all right when it rains, but when it wasn't raining, you having to use the lake water to basically go all over it.
Yes.
Why
yeah.
is that? Does it have to? Is it like
Because it's grass underneath it. It's grass.
Otherwise it'd just all die.
Yes. Oh dear me, never mind.
It was like a fireman's hose.
Yeah, it was very powerful, but the thing was, this is stapled at the moment. You can see the staples. We got to there. So that'll all be covered in soil, topsoil, and reseeded again.
And then what? So he's got to put topsoil over the top of this, and then you seed it again. And that's how you get the grass on top, but it also grows through.
Yeah, we put the seed on and then the topsoil.
So that ain't going nowhere, that matting, once that's grown through.
No, you can see some of the seed from previous look that went underneath the matting. It's all stapled down, so the seed goes under it and it goes on the top of it as well.
Although getting my venue fixed, the leaks to stop, has been my priority, and it's making me rather happy getting it all sorted. It has come at a cost. See, in a previous episode around a month ago, I said this while telling everyone about Catch. We're not quite live yet, however we will be in the next couple of weeks. See, I had planned on opening Kev's pool after the fish finish spawning, which is probably going to happen in the next couple of weeks, and then taking the bookings via the Catch app. However, with all the works that we've been carrying out and the setbacks that we've had, I'm not able to open the doors just yet. It just wouldn't make sense to get the fishery open before it's actually completed. However, when we are finally ready to get you fishing on the lake, which I promise is going to be as soon as we can, you can be the first to get notified using the Catch app. Where are you off to then? All you have to do is head over to the app and create a free account. This isn't a free trial, this isn't some sort of scam. By having a free account, it just means you can hit the little love icon on the side of your favourite fishery, meaning that you will be notified of any updates, including that all-important notification of when we go live. And trust me, I need to do this as soon as possible because I'm horrendously over budget and need to recuperate some costs. See, as Mum wanders out to talk to Kevin for the 677th time today, you can see that somehow between that, it's all starting to get there. He started right up at that end of the lake today, and I think he's actually going to be making his way down to nearly where the swim is. And whilst you're on the app waiting for our venue to open, you can check out all the other ones they have too. Oh, she's going to kill me already. And where I think that I'm being clever with my fishery, Catch are being cleverer. See, on the fishery page for wherever it is that you're going, they're now using things like bolt-ons and AI. So you can actually see the weather for the venue that you're going to just on the page while you're booking. I've left a link in the description below to make sure that you can go over to Catch and set up that free account. Now, we know that anything under the grass section and the side of the road and the lake is repairable easily enough. However, what might not be so easy is our stunning swim. You see, in the last video, we calculated that one of the last land drains that we need to find and concrete up is probably right beneath this swim. However, this swim is looking so nice, it'd break my heart to have to dig it up.
Unfortunately, mate, I think we're going to have to do it. I really can't just leave one section that hasn't been done. All that's going to happen is the potential of it leaking, I'm afraid.
Well, it looks like we've got a lot of work to be getting on with. Well, Kevin certainly does anyway. So if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and that thumbs up button and catch us at another one very soon. Cheers.
Stick to fishing, mate. Hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button.